600 miles off the coast of Japan called Iwo Jima. Iwo Jima was probably the worst battle in the Second World War. We needed that island because there was an airfield there, and it was 600 miles from Japan, and we wanted to bomb Japan, so we had to have the airfield. We thought there were 12,000 Japanese soldiers on Iwo Jima. Turned out there were 22,000. We bombed the island for 4 months. We thought we'd annihilated life on the island. We hadn't killed anybody. Why? Because they had dug 16 miles of tunnels all throughout Iwo Jima. They weren't on the island, they were in the island. On 19 February 1945, 800 Navy ships surrounded Iwo Jima. A battle that was supposed to take 4 days took 36 days. Colonel his name's not coming to me, it'll come in a minute. The Japanese, Kurobayashi. Colonel Bayachi had studied Normandy. He said, you know what, we're not going to shoot at them as they come in on the beach, we're going to wait till they get on the beach. And so he targeted every square inch of that island with his artillery, with his mortar fire, with his machine guns, automatic weapons. We waited for 2 hours. The Marines clogged the beach. The Marines were excited. Hey, they're all dead. This is going to be a cakewalk. And then, 2 hours on the island, the Japanese opened fire. In the next 36 hours, 2,500 Marines were slaughtered. At the end of the battle, they raised the flag on Mount Suribachi in the 4th day. That's the famous flag raising. 3 of those guys died in the weeks following that. 36 days later, 6,850 Marines were dead, 20,000 Marines were seriously wounded, 21,000 Japanese soldiers had been killed. The last Japanese soldier did not surrender on Iwo Jima until 1949, 4 years after the war. We had to torch them out of the tunnels in the end. It was a horrible, horrible war, battle. 25 years later, somebody got the idea, why don't we have a reunion for the guys who fought on Iwo Jima? 1970. So this group, I'm not sure who they were, I watched this on PBS, it was an amazing thing, sent a letter to the survivors, the Marine survivors. We're going to have a reunion on Iwo Jima. We're going to invite the Japanese survivors. Wouldn't you like to come? Well, what do you think most of the Marines said? You got to be smoking something, Jack. I ain't going back to Iwo Jima. But about 180 guys decided, you know, I want to go. About a similar number of the Japanese survivors decided, I think I want to go. And so they got in the airplanes and they flew to Iwo Jima. They filmed this. It was shown. I watched this in a hotel. I don't know where it was. It was in a hotel room. And the planes landed, and the Marines lined up on one side of that airstrip that they had fought for 25 years earlier. The Japanese lined up on the other side, and they stood there for a long time, just looking at each other. And then, all of a sudden, nobody said anything. Cameras are running. These guys ran across the runway and embraced. They hugged and they wept, and it was over for them. 25 years before, they had been ripping each other's guts out. Now, do you think any of those guys will ever forget what happened on Iwo Jima? I don't think they are required to. I think they need to remember. And in remembering, deciding, as they did in that flash of magnificence, it doesn't matter anymore. People have been through divorce. Think they'll ever forget how ugly that is? No. Should they forget? No. I think they need to remember and then decide it doesn't matter anymore. I will tell you, folks, if you can master that, if you can decide that all the garbage that's happened to you in your life doesn't matter anymore, remember it. Remember what it did to you. Remember how you felt. And then decide